So, again, we are with Mr. Ishak Diwan, Country Director of the World Bank. Welcome to the Africa Next Silo Breaker, Ishak.
Great, thank you. I love to break silos, so let me try today.
Good.
To break a few.
Okay. Well, we were in this office soon after the first election, maybe about the 10th of December 2008, something like that. And we are coming to discuss very similar issues. Ishak was to be with us at the Silo Breaker 511 in Tesano, but for very good reasons, good Accra traffic reasons, he couldn't make it.
Tesano was too far during traffic time.
Yes. I had other good reasons for moving the Silo Breaker. Well, actually, the traditional home of the Silo Breaker has been your old Imperial headquarters here, and at is 233. But anyway,
Imperial.
anyway, but we are interested in knowledge. Breaking silos, creating knowledge, small face-to-face interaction, and so on and so forth. In our last interview in December 2008, already we touched a bit on those issues. And you yourself, you keep referring to the World Bank as a knowledge cooperative. Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, I mean, the World Bank sees itself as a bit of a supermarket of ideas. You want to do your pension reform, you want to focus on health finance, you want to focus on commercial agriculture. We have teams of knowledgeable people that have learned by doing in other countries that we can bring here to work with Ghanaians and adapt global knowledge to local needs. And that's our specialty. That's how we see it.
You are not just knowledge, you are knowledge with power.
With what?
With power. Knowledge with power.
With power.
Yeah. You are leveraged knowledge.
We do our best to try to neutralize our power, because I think this perception of power is a perception of the past. Some kind of remains from the days where adjustment was at the center, and where the interaction between the international community and Ghana was one of clash. I think we try to give up whatever power we may be perceived to have right now.
I call you reluctant imperialist.
You could call it that way, but even that I wouldn't accept. Power is not useful. I mean, power to do what? Power to convince Ghanaians to do what they don't want to do?
The World Bank is now in soft power?
It's not soft. I am insisting that this is not the right way to characterize what the bank should be doing. There may be some people at the World Bank which, are trying to cling to the past. But if you look at our current strategies, that's what we've been trying to do for a while, and especially in Ghana, which is a middle-income country now, is to say power must be exercised by local institutions, by the domestic institutions and the domestic citizens, the national citizens. And that is development. This is at the heart of development. To put it differently, the problem in Ghana or in any other West African country, the problem in the sense of the constraints to development, have to do with governance. It's obvious. There's plenty of natural resources around, water and land and gold and you name it. It's all there. And so it's the ability of society to govern itself in ways that allow security and that allows accumulation and that allows technical change, right? This is at the heart of it. So to come with power and crowd out domestic power is exactly the opposite of what we should do. That's why I don't like this narrative of power.
I understand.
Right? I can understand that historically there's something to it, so you cling to it. But that's not, it seems to me, useful. And I would rather have you discuss it and internalize this notion that where power should reside, and play your role in kind of making sure it works this way.
Okay, so let's
for any external agency to exercise power, let me repeat it, is anti-development, since the challenge of development is a governance system fitted to the needs of the country and that is run in a sustainable way by the countries. And we can talk about this, it's this passage to democracy, right? There are parts of this voyage goes through landscapes which are not necessarily very favorable to development, but nevertheless you have to go through it so that one learns by doing and adapt the institutions to those difficulties so that they can progress. Development creates tensions of various sorts, for one thing, but also the exercise of power, the political competition, is not favorable necessarily to development. I give you a good example, which is the macro stability, the macro stability, and in particular the election cycle, as we can call it. And now this election cycle, because of political competition, political actors have an interest in pushing spending the year before election, and this is destabilizes the macroeconomy and increases interest rates and inflation. It takes many years to stabilize. There's no time to focus on the real issues. And frankly, when investors look at the future and fear all this instability, they simply don't invest. So until this issue is resolved, until the institutions are created to actually constrain the politicians, it's going to be difficult to be a 10% growth society.
You mean we are stuck at 5% or whatever?
I think, we're stuck below 10%. Now, I hasten to say that on this road to democracy, Ghana is probably the country the most ahead of every country in Africa. So these are the real challenges, and as you improve through these challenges, I think the improvement is extremely valuable. And I see improvement in these directions. As I watch the constitutional debate, as I watch the discussion on the freedom of information, as I watch the way the parties relate to government spending. Actually, I think first page of the graphic today, the Minister of Finance guarantees to Ghanaians that they would not overspend during this election. This is perfect for the debate to be there. There is progress, yet it's going to take a while. But this is, I think, the right kind of progress, and this is all about power.
Actually,
the exercise of power.
This election cycles and its effect on the macroeconomy is very important. I remember actually when we did our interview in December 2008, you already made direct allusion to that. But then, and other people have done it. I mean, other economists, I understand, have made similar points on our deficit getting out of hand and so on and so forth. But it was not until your famous letter to the incoming government was released that it became really, it seized public attention. So there again, I mean, the location, the structural location from which you speak, has something to say about the power of truth or knowledge, wouldn't you say?
No. I mean, I wish this is true. I still wonder why this letter became so controversial. There's something about the Ghanaian psyche that I don't fully understand, because I guess one really needs the benefit of history to understand it and the relation with foreigners and
well, the point is, I mean, the preceding government had run the election on having done a pretty good job with the economy. What was the point? Growing it 4 times over. And then what worries me is that we didn't have enough information in our debates.
Correct.
So, I mean, something not working well.
Yeah. No, that's why I talked about the freedom of information as being so central. We didn't have information either. Nobody did. Since then, part of what we've done is help the government and even put pressure on the government to accept, to put a system in place to collect and release fiscal information on a quarterly basis. And the Minister of Finance is quite committed to that. They post the information on their websites on a quarterly basis. And this would be made into law through the freedom of information, which is even broader than that, of course. But I see something like that, if it can become a fixture policies as a huge, I mean, this is kind of a historical movement of institutions.
Well, let's localize this. I'm going to round up in a few minutes. But you've been quite, you've added your wits, and I still go back. I'm a political scientist. I think I cannot get away from the word power, the weight of your office and everything, to the argument for some kind of special attention to the Western region. The president just came from the Western region. In point of fact, I was very happy. Well, not happy. Had some mixed feelings that the idea of the Western Corridor has now been officially re-invoked. But now, when we talk about the Western Corridor, as I understand it from the press, it's more in terms of road infrastructure. In any case, I mean, you were with us in Takoradi at the beginning of last quarter at the Nanketia's Western Region Forum. How do you see that whole process going?
Look, I would like quickly to contrast this process with the kind of planning processes that happened in more autocratic governments. And indeed, I came here from Ethiopia and I had a cultural shock. In Ethiopia, I would meet once a month with the Prime Minister. We would discuss everything from the broad strategic views of the government, how we could support that, to the details of every project. And the man was on top of everything. It was one-on-one. I don't know how he informed his cabinet after. He followed up on everything. This is the same model in Rwanda and Tanzania and Uganda. They are top-down systems where the focus is capacity in government. And these are development states that deliver quite a lot. The fear there is you don't have a lot of creativity in society because the society is talked to. It all comes from the public sector. All the effort is to bring it into the government and to fix it there. And then you also have problems with succession. You know, you have long periods. It's not myopic. But then succession is a break. It's not easy to move after. Just remember Mubarak and Ben Ali, two famous autocrats. Now, in Ghana, on the other hand, this is a different system. As I said earlier, these competitive politics can be costly in the short term. You know, they give rise to a bit of chaotic forces, to myopia. And I haven't found a prime minister, powerful decision maker to talk to here. It doesn't work like that. I wish.
Maybe we should have come earlier. We should have come earlier when we were first dealing with the bank.
In the current system, power is diffuse. To move vigorously in a direction takes a constellation of forces.
Yeah.
It's a more complex system. It's a system where, you know, civil society's view, the elite's view, the street movement, the political force, they all play a role. And we can discuss this complex system, but one idea I had recently is that a lot of things happen here in what I would call on the edge of chaos. They happen on the edge of chaos.
What exactly do you mean?
I mean, they happen even though you think they would not happen. They happen in the last minute.
Okay.
You know, we're organizing something, it looks totally disorganized. At the last minute, it comes together.
In a sense, I think I also recognize that as a very Ghanaian way.
There.
As a very Ghanaian way.
I'll give you two examples. The North. We've been trying to push a good model for cotton in the North for years. And in many countries, it takes years of studies and designs and all that. Here, suddenly the government got interested. We want it now, they said. Now or never, you know, was what we understood. And in 2 months, they put together a very sophisticated package for cotton in the North. I begged them to give us a year to do it. They said, no, you have 2 months. And it was done, and I think let's wait and see. I mean, supposedly 50,000 tons are being planted as opposed to 5,000 tons last year. Let's see if the farmers have been convinced. And I think something similar is happening on the West Coast.
Okay.
I mean, in the sense that politically, any party will have to deliver the West Coast to win. Yeah. It's a key swing vote. Yeah. And therefore, I say it will be delivered.
I like your optimism.
And therefore, However, it doesn't happen in a linear way. But all the efforts that are happening in the West to organize and plan the mind and all that are going to be very useful, because the day when this plan will be needed, it better be ready. And it's going to be done by, as it is being done, by the chiefs and civil society and the private sector, and be taken over by politicians in the last second because they will realize we need it. This is what I call on the edge of chaos, but in a positive way.
Now I perfectly understand. Now my very final question, and actually this is a question I'm asking on behalf of my primary school mate, actually, and my very active Facebook wall friend, Augusto, and it's on road safety. During your spring meetings in Washington, the World Bank announced a very big initiative on road safety. What would that mean for Ghana?
Well, I think it's very important for Ghana and for many countries. You can save a lot of life by following simple rules, and I think there's some strong truth to that, and you need institutions to implement those rules. But these rules that have to do with safety cannot be politicized. They are very obvious and very simple. Therefore, I think the bank think that one should push in a determined way to have islands of quality around these rules. Take them out of the political context, and these are the kind of rules that can be pushed in a technocratic fashion. We believe that this can be done in many places, and certainly in Ghana, and that can save a lot of lives.
Thank you very much, Tishai. Thank you.
Thank you.